Jesus Christ would want ICE to raid churches and hospitals and schools? Do you think that he would support children being separated from their families? Do you think that he would turn asylum seekers away at the border? Because if you think that any of this is somehow godly, I urge you to listen to the countless verses that tell us to accept the foreigner, to not mistreat the oppressed, and to love thy neighbor, because that is our greatest commandment.
Did you know that it is wicked, according to God, to be running around the neighborhood or to even participate in a marathon? That's right. Proverbs 28:1 says, the wicked flee when no one is chasing them. So, that's right, Christian. If you were running around the neighborhood today to get your daily exercise, to get in your steps, and nobody was physically chasing you, I'm afraid you have committed a sin. But of course, that would be taking that verse out of context. Kind of like everything that she just did. Okay, so let's talk about it. Would Jesus have supported ICE? Well, I think the best place to go would be obviously the Gospels. And we can look at the ministry of Jesus and we can see what happens when people posed governmental questions to him with regards to what we should and should not be doing with the Roman government. So for instance, there's the very famous moment where he has tossed a Roman coin and posed with the question of, should we or should we not pay taxes to Caesar? And his response is very simple. Render unto Caesar's what is Caesar's, and render to God what is God's. In other words, separating the two so that as long as your Christianity and your faith in God is not being subverted by the government, then you give God what is God's, but you stay faithful and do what the government is telling you to do. It is only when the government targets your faith that you have permission to stand up. And it even says in Romans that when you stand up, you can expect to face persecution. But I'll go ahead and read you those verses in case you're not familiar. It's in Romans chapter 13, and it says, let every soul be subject to governing authorities, because there is no authority except those appointed by God. And basically, the government is not a terror to good works, but of to evil ones. So if you want to have praise from the government, do good, and you will have praise from God, right? With this, are we happy that there are children that are afraid and that there are families that are being deported? No, I'm not happy. I wish that was not happening, but I am also equally unhappy when I find out that there are people in this country who do not belong here that are harming our citizens. And like it or not, you can't have both, okay? We have a legal asylee entrance point, and we have people that are waiting decades to get into this country legally. The problem is the only way to make sure that the hurting families that actually need our help and need a safe place to live and a safe place to raise their family are getting the help that they need, we have to have a funnel system to make sure that there are people not coming into this country who have no business being here, who want to harm our citizens. You mentioned it, right? We have to love our neighbor, accept the foreigner. The problem is we have hurting people here, right? Our neighbor is not just the people outside of this country. I don't know where the quote was from, but there's a quote that says, we don't build walls because we hate the people on the outside. We build walls because we love the people on the inside and want to keep them safe. Okay? I love this world, and I love God's people more than I can ever express in a 3-minute video. But you're using scripture out of context. And when you do that, you are setting yourself up for failure.